one I'm not supposed to say, but it starts along Bonita Beach Road and heads north, that I have interest in property, and just a huge difference of the cooperation between the code enforcement for that county with the police department and the county commissioners there. There's a total disconnect among them is what my feeling was, and I'd made several phone calls to them. The properties are abandoned, and it has a vicious cycle of once the properties are in disrepair, people think it's okay to break into them a lot easier. There's no repercussions of that. Pulls your property down, can't get quality tenants, they don't want to live in a neighborhood. And a lot of my neighbors that I had even spoken to said, I'm just ready to walk away from the property myself because you're not getting support from the county. With the police department there, they do show up, they do take a report, but they were really not very aggressive in pursuing these things because there was a disconnect from the county commissioners and, most importantly, the code department weren't even following up on code violations. I also came across they were selectively picking what codes they wanted to enforce that month. Total night and day difference from Collier County. Diane's office, the county commissioners here, and the police department here really are working together, and we're sort of spoiled that if you don't go outside of the county, you're not really going to see these items. But if you take a ride north, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you'll see a night and day difference. And what that means to us also is our property values are going to be upheld a lot more than where they are in other counties. And it's, like I said, it's kept much cleaner here. It shows much better the properties. I am a realtor, so I'm out there every day showing properties and taking buyers around. And the biggest question we get asked is, excuse me, if I buy a home, in this neighborhood, why is it half the price of a home in Collier County? And we typically tell them, go take a drive. And when you come back, if you don't think it's worth that money, then buy the home in that county. My license works the entire state, so I don't really care where they buy, as long as they buy through me. But there is a big difference, and like I said, the communication and the lines of communication between Diane's office, the county administrators, and the police department, they're really doing an excellent job on it. So, like I said, although the neighborhoods are very clean here, well-maintained, there are issues like any county, but the Collier County government staff we have behind us, from what I've experienced myself, is night and day difference.
So in developing the blight prevention program, it was focused on three specific areas: address health, safety, and welfare issues, identify and maintain property values and tax revenues, and prevent blight in the community. This is just a quick slide to tell you that we are almost at 24,000 foreclosure filings filed since January 2008. The customary code enforcement methods that we had, we evaluated them when we saw this coming, and we quickly determined that they would not work. And that is why the old process of doing things was tossed and a new process, a new program was developed. In looking at the three-prong action plan, it was to develop community task force teams, establish relationships with the banks to have the banks abate violations, and that's one of the areas that other communities have had difficulty doing because they can't get the banks to do anything. And then the agency coordination. This is just an idea. We separated the county into 5 different districts, and in those 5 districts is participation by lots of different folks. In the community task force teams, they meet monthly. Community like HOA members, homeowners associations, civic associations come to the monthly meetings. They tell the sheriff's office and code enforcement where the issues are in their neighborhood. If there's nefarious activity going on, if there's green pools, if there's broken windows. Folks can also, and we encourage people to work with us to help maintain the community, that if there is a green pool, broken window, overgrown grass, you don't have to come to the monthly meeting. You can just go to the website, which is on the slide, or you can make a phone call. It was actually Representative Pasadomo, I believe, who came up with the term, we're all in this together, and we really are all in this together. The ability to maintain the integrity of our community depends on all of us working together. In addition, the investigators, along with the other members of the Code Enforcement Department, do monthly sweeps looking for vacant homes, because we know that if it's a vacant home, that it may be a drug house. It may be just a green pool that needs to be addressed. So we monitor where the vacant homes are. The lists are shared amongst the agencies so that we can keep an eye on these vacant homes and make sure that nothing is happening there. We also have meet and greet events, and then we all work together for neighborhood cleanups. This is just a quick, in the meet and greet, they go out. They talk to the area where they're going to do the cleanup. They provide the cleanup event information. These are some of the things that law enforcement and code enforcement have come across during the meet and greet events. This is just a picture of a cleanup, multiple different cleanups actually, and you can see community members, law enforcement officers, code enforcement officers, all working together to clean up the community. The dumpsters are provided through public utilities at no cost to the community member. So all they have to do is bring their litter and debris. We help them dump it into the dumpster. We take care of getting the dumpster hauled away. And they're doing about 100 cleanups a year. So there's a lot of cleanups going on around the county. The next was the second step in the three-prong action plan was talking to the banks. Working with the banks and explaining to them we could do this one of two ways. Code enforcement has the ability through the special magistrate or code enforcement board to put a lien on a property if someone chooses not to come into compliance. So we explained to the banks that ultimately this is your asset and that it's important that you maintain your asset. From our perspective, it's important to maintain the asset because we want to maintain the integrity of our community. And so we went through the various mortgage notes with the banks. It was a slow start, but now we're working with over 100 different banks. And in the mortgage note, they do have the ability to maintain the home because it's their asset long before they ever take title to the home. So in working with the banks, we said, we'll give you a single point of contact. If you give us a single point of contact, we will send you emails or call you on the phone to your single point of contact. We'll tell you exactly what the code violation is, green pool, overgrown grass, broken window, whatever it is. We'll tell you exactly what you need to do to bring it into compliance. You send your contractor out there. When they tell you they did the work, we'll go out there. We'll take a look at it. We'll make sure that it's done correctly. We'll send you an email, and then they pay their contractor. We close the code case. No red tape. It's all done by phone calls and emails because the goal is we make this quick, we make it effective, and we move on because we're dealing with thousands and thousands and thousands of these. We get an average between 150 and 200 new cases every week. The next thing we do is I've got an example here of a before. This was, some of you may be familiar with this. This was a property at the intersection of Bayshore and Thomason. It was multiple buildings, two-story buildings. And the short story is, in working with the sheriff's office, if you look at the top section of the slide, you see that the local homeless folks were using these. They had broken into the apartments. They were living in the apartments. And there was a lot of crime starting around the area. So we contacted the bank, and the bank says, well, we haven't filed a less penance. We said, yeah, we know that. And the end story is that as we were working with that bank, they got shut down by the bank regulators. So then it went to FDIC. And it was an interesting look on the face of the FDIC attorney because we said, we want you to abate this violation. And they said, do you know who we are? I said, you're FDIC. I see your little label on the outside of every bank. But when a bank gets shut down by regulators, FDIC comes in and then they take care of the various assets the bank has. And the end result was FDIC said, okay, because we told them we wanted to take all the buildings down. In the midst of FDIC taking the buildings down, a minor lien holder came in and said, I'm taking title to the property because the original owner owed me some money for some work that I did and never paid me, and they kicked FDIC off the property. So then we went to that person and said, okay, we need you to finish taking these buildings down. He says, I don't have any money. So we went back to FDIC because the other ability that we have is that we get an order from the Code Enforcement Board of Special Magistrate, and we say, and in the order, it gives us the authority to abate the violation, and then we place the lien on the property. So we went back to FDIC and said, we have an order to abate this violation, and we'll spend the $200,000+ to take it down. If you pay the county back right away, we'll send you the bill, and you pay the bill, and we're all good. The house is down, or all the buildings are down. They agreed to do it. We took an agreement to the Board of County Commissioners, and with their cooperation, they agreed to the agreement, and the final result was this. So this was a little bit convoluted, but the end result was that a significant blight and crime-infested area was addressed.
The homeless people don't have anywhere to live. Why can't somebody run an organization where they can live in that? Why would you take it down?
It wasn't their property. There are areas in the community, but this wasn't one of them. If you will look at the next slide, the banks have spent more than $2.8 million to abate code violations in Collier County and have abated over 2,200 code violations. They're spending an average of $15,000 a week to abate code violations in Collier County. In the agency coordination, just very quickly, the first one is the Foreclosure Task Force, and you know lots about that by now. The next one is the Collier County Economic Recovery Task Force, and that task force has been developed for businesses, local business owners, and it's again another grassroots volunteer initiative. And all of this will be on the Foreclosure Task Force, and these websites will be there. But if you're a local business owner and you're looking for some assistance, if you're trying to move into another building, or if you're looking for some assistance in developing a business plan, all kinds of resources are available on that website for you. In addition, working with the Naples Area Board of Realtors, one of the things that was not well understood was when someone buys a home, that they also buy all the issues with that home, such as code violations or liens on the property. So working with the Naples Area Board of Realtors, a program was developed that they could do a lien search for $25 guaranteed in 2 business days that will tell them if there's any liens, any violations on that property, so that when a buyer is going in, they don't get surprised with, oh yeah, there's a violation, and the amount of the lien is $10,000. So program was developed, as well as working with the local home inspectors to do code property inspections, telling them what they need to look for. So developing that partnership with Naples Area Board of Realtors has been very helpful. And then the last is the Collier County Utilities Department, because they have the responsibility of shutting off water to structures that haven't paid the bill. And in Collier County, there's over 2,000 what's called master meters, meaning 1 meter, 1 bill, multiple homeowners. So in a condominium, you have a master meter. That meter serves the entire complex of the different homeowners. The homeowners, say homeowners 1 through 10 had paid their utility bill when they received it, but maybe there's 20 other units that are vacant. So the person, the management company that's supposed to pay the bill, if they don't pay the bill, the water gets shut off. So in working with them, rather than, the old method was you just evict them. Well, we didn't want to do that. I mean, homeowners 1 through 10 had paid the bill. So what we did is we worked out a program with utilities. We call it the red, yellow, green program. Green means the bills are getting paid. Yellow means they've missed a payment. They contact our office. If there's a master meter that's missed a payment, we go into the clerk records. We figure out which banks have interest in that property. Then we contact our bank contacts. And 100% of the time, the banks have been paying the bills for the utilities, so that the homeowners that are residing in the condominium aren't negatively impacted. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Jim Bloom, and I can't stress enough the partnership that we have with the Sheriff's Office, and what a great group of people they are to work with. Because many, many times the code enforcement investigators will contact their liaison who they work with in the community task force team, and they'll go out together to address a common issue.
But to give you a little bit of background, in early 2007, I was called down to the undersheriff's office, who is now our current sheriff, Sheriff Rambosk. Anybody that knows him knows he's very intellectual, follows trends. He's a brilliant guy. And he asked me, he says, Chief, what can you tell me about foreclosures in Collier County? I'm a law enforcement guy. I could tell him this much about foreclosures, to be quite frank. I go, sir, not a whole lot. He goes, well, you better learn, because I'm very concerned that it's going to impact Collier County severely. A long story go forward, about 9 to 12 months, guess what? The bottom starts dropping out, and we start getting all these issues, these calls about abandoned, vacant, foreclosed homes. Luckily for us, when he called me down to his office, he also told me, start to put a plan in place of how we can help the community. And I'll be honest with you, I think that had a major impact, not the sheriff's office, because we had a plan to deal with the county and our residents, which you're going to find out. And you don't have to drive very far, as Keith said, and we've alluded to see the difference in quality of life of Collier County versus other areas. Now, with that being said, what our goal was, when putting this plan together, we started to see what could we do if we get called by residents, get called by somebody about foreclosed home. Well, as Diane, Director Flagg alluded to, there was a lot of red tape in the beginning. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due, and that's specifically to Director Flagg. When we went to her with this issue and we sat down and we talked and we figured out how long the process was going to be, she wasn't a person that told us it can't be done or this is how. She said, this is how we're going to do it. And very quickly, things were modified for the benefit of our residents and of our community. So she deserves a lot of credit along with code enforcement on that. But with that being said, we were able to expedite things and get things fixed, because we're going to get in the slides here a little bit later what we can talk about with the broken window theory, which I'll get to. But first, dealing with our vision, and that is protecting our community through partnerships. Collier County, once again, is very unique because of our partnerships. We come together as a group. It sounds corny, but it's true. Collier County has always had a strong foundation of relying on each other as residents and as a community as compared to other communities, to be quite frank. And I still truly believe in my heart, even though we're hit tremendously by the dropout in real estate, I think we're going to recover very quickly. And I think the steps we took prevented it from being more drastic. We can debate back and forth on that, but some of the steps we took, one of those being the community safety team and the Foreclosure Task Force, I think really saved our economy here. Our vision, and the sheriff's vision, was to empower residents. We can't do it as a law enforcement agency alone. Code can't do it alone. NABOR can't do it alone. But when we're united and we come together and we start identifying problems, if I can't fix it as a law enforcement problem, maybe code can fix it. Maybe it's a utility problem. Maybe it's, it could be one of many problems that we see. And you're going to see, if you can go to the next slide, please, Dan. These are just some of the people that are involved in groups. This is what sets us apart. This is what makes us so unique, is if I can't fix the problem, we'll figure out how we can. And we know how to go to and who to go to with that. And because of that group you see, and it goes on and on and on, that's what has set our community apart from others. And believe me, when it probably between 2009, 2011, I know Diane was getting the calls and I was getting the calls from Arizona, Phoenix, Las Vegas, these areas that the bottom totally dropped out and they did not know what to do. And they had heard about our program. So we shared with them. We shared with them everything we had put in place at that time and how we continue to evolve. Next, please. What's our current concerns? We heard some of the stats you saw. You don't need me to repeat. No one knows. We don't know. We like to think the bottom has hit and that we're recovering. I'm confident. I truly do believe that we are on the upswing, but only time will tell. And that's why we have to continue with these types of programs, keeping them in place, dealing with our vacant houses. We have to keep a close eye on the economic downturn or hopefully upturn and seeing. But talk about the broken window theory a little bit, and we're getting some pictures, and you saw some pictures. I am a true believer of that. If you let one problem grow into two, before you know it, or one house on a street, you have three. Or in a neighborhood, if you have 5 homes in a neighborhood, the next you have 10. Do you think someone wants to buy that house next to the one that has 3 broken windows in it? The grass is 3 feet high and there's gang graffiti on it? Absolutely not. And you can imagine what the value is on that neighborhood on the next houses. So that's why we took such a proactive approach, because holding no bones about it, we're all affected by the prices and the value of your homes. I don't know if anybody watched it. I'm not here to get into politics tonight, but Fox News released something. I think it was the beginning of this week. The average person's fixed income value is down 45% right now, as what it was, I think, in 2005. You know what the majority of that is? House values. House values. So you're that much poorer along with me. But with that being said, it could have been a lot worse. And I think we definitely triaged the problem here in Collier County with the efforts that everybody in this room put forward. We already talked about, you can go ahead and skip, sorry, lose the tracker, go 2 more slides, please, Diane. Once again, talking about the quality of life and some of the things we're looking at, we want the community members to be involved. If you see a problem in your community, call us as far as a house that no one's been around, but all of a sudden you see people hanging out there. Let us make contact with them. Let us find out. Do they live there? How long do they live there? What are they doing there? If not, we document it, and then we start tracking it, or we'll get with Diane and code enforcement to see. But we need to be made aware of it immediately, and at least, if nothing else, make an information report on that residence or that property so we can track it and start documenting if there is deficiencies. And a lot of times it is the bank. They aren't aware of it. We need to make them aware of it, and then Diane's group follows up with it. Sorry, Dan, I'm trying to speed up here so everybody can get home. Let's talk about the community safety teams. We encourage you to get involved as realtors, as neighborhoods, as HOAs. If you want to be, start up a community safety team and be part of this, please give me a call. My phone number's not up on here. I'm going to show you in a little while how you can call in vacant homes. But if you're interested in a community safety team and getting involved, call me at the office at 530-9636, 530-9636. And I will help you get involved, get your community involved, because we can't do it alone. Once again, and shame on you or shame on your neighborhood if you aren't willing to take steps. And if you aren't, then you know what? That's your issue. Because once again, it's not just a law enforcement issue, it's a community issue for us to deal with together. If you'll skip down to the reporting, let's see, yep, that's the one I wanted, Dan, perfect. These are the numbers. You can go to our website, but if you see a suspicious home or a vacant home abandoned activity, you got 3 avenues along with the number I just gave you. You can call me personally, but make us aware of it so we can come out and we can start working on the issue if there is an issue. Or maybe someone has moved in. That's great. We can at least make them aware of then some of the other problems and things that may be occurring in the neighborhood, and we can help track it. So please get involved and let us know about it. The next is just, once again, I don't want to repeat a lot of things, but when we do get called, for example, something comes in that hotline, it'll be dispatched to the appropriate district. We have 6 districts in Collier County. We'll send somebody out. They will evaluate. Usually it's our cops deputies because they work closely with Diane. Those are our community-oriented policing deputies, have anywhere between 5 to 6 in each district, and they specifically work hand-in-hand with code to look at these issues. They will go out, they'll evaluate it. We may canvass an area to see what information they have on a home. We'll do a report. We'll take pictures of the green pool, of the torn lanais. We've seen everything, and you're going to see some pictures here in a little while of some very disgusting locations. But then you're going to see the after and the positive results we've had in fixing them. Next. Let's see, Naples. Yep, this is it. In North Naples, a lot of people think this is very specific. I will tell you firsthand, and when I say specific, that only certain districts or certain areas of Collier County have been impacted. The entire community has been impacted, from some of our wealthiest areas in Collier County to some of the most impoverished. So if you think that there's only certain areas of Collier County that this has been an issue in, I assure you it's not. It's been a community problem from day one, and we